So, you've seen those pictures, right? A photo that's just broken, full of noise, maybe a little blurry, and you think, is there any way to fix that? Well, it's not some kind of magic. It's actually a fascinating mathematical puzzle. And today, we're going to crack it wide open.
The big question here is, can you really, truly fix a damaged photo? And I don't just mean slapping a filter on it to make it look a little better. I'm talking about finding the original, hidden truth buried under all that corruption. You got to think of it like a detective story. The perfect image is our victim, and all that noise and blur, that's the evidence left behind at the crime scene. And just like any good detective, the first thing you have to do is understand the crime scene. We need to work backwards to reverse engineer exactly what went wrong so we can undo the damage, piece by piece. Now, this is a really, really important distinction. There's enhancement, which is totally subjective, making a photo look prettier or more dramatic, but that's not what we're doing. We're talking about restoration. That's objective. It's about using math to invert a real-world process and find the one single original image. To do any of this, we need a case file. And in the world of image processing, that's called the degradation model. It's basically the formal mathematical blueprint that tells us exactly how our clean, original image got messed up with blur and noise.
Okay, I know this formula looks a little intense, but the core idea is actually pretty simple. The messed up image we see, that's G, is just the original image, F, after it got blurred by some process H and then had a bunch of random noise, ADOS, sprinkled on top. That's it. Our entire job is to peel back those layers and get back to F.
So to solve this case, we first have to identify our culprit. And in our world, that means we have to profile the different kinds of noise. You see, each type leaves behind a unique signature, its own kind of digital fingerprint that we can learn to spot. So we're basically looking at three main suspects. First, you've got additive noise. Think of it like a constant background static. Then there's multiplicative noise, which actually gets worse in the brighter parts of the image. And finally, impulse noise. That's the really obvious one, the black and white specks people call salt and pepper noise. And this table right here, this is basically our criminal profiler's cheat sheet. Additive noise doesn't care about the image itself. It often just comes from heat in the camera sensor. Multiplicative noise scales up with the signal. And impulse noise, that's just brute force, pixels getting slammed to pure black or pure white, usually because something went wrong when the data was being sent. Okay, now that we know how to identify the enemy, it's time to pick our weapon. It's time for the filter face-off, where we figure out which tools can actually get the job done and which ones, well, can't. All right, first step to the plate is the average filter. The idea is simple. It looks at a pixel and its neighbors and just averages them all together. But as you can see, when it comes up against that extreme salt and pepper noise, it's a total disaster. It doesn't get rid of the spots, it just smears them into these ugly gray blobs, a complete failure. And here's exactly why it goes so wrong. The problem is fundamental. Linear averaging is just the wrong tool for this specific kind of problem. It's like trying to clean up spilled glitter with a wet sponge. You're just going to smear the mess everywhere instead of actually picking it up. So if a simple average just makes things worse, what do? We have to stop thinking in such a straight line. We need a smarter, non-linear method that can actually identify those extreme speckles and just toss them out.
And that brings us to our hero, the median filter.
The logic here is just so elegant.
Instead of averaging, it grabs a bunch of pixels, lines up their values from darkest to brightest, and then just picks the one right in the middle. Those extreme black and white pixels from the noise, they get pushed all the way to the ends of the line where they're completely ignored. Genius.
So let's put them head to head. The average filter with its averaging just creates a blurry mess and smears the problem around. But the median filter, with its sorting logic, actually keeps the edges sharp and totally rejects those outliers. It's not even a fair fight. A clear win for the median filter. Think of this as your complete forensic toolkit. If you're dealing with some gentle, uniform noise, sure, an average filter might do the trick. But for that nasty, harsh salt and pepper noise, the median filter is your champion. And if you've got a mix of problems, something like a trimmed average filter can be a really solid compromise. Okay, but what if we show up to the crime scene and we have no idea what happened? No clues, no weapon, nothing. This is what we call the blindfolded challenge of image restoration, when the degradation process itself is a complete mystery. Just look at the difference here. In a standard case, we know the blur function. We know what we're trying to undo. But with blind deconvolution, we have two huge unknowns, the original image and the blur that messed it up. We have to solve for both of them at the exact same time. It is an incredibly difficult problem. And trying to solve this means you have to make some serious choices. Do you want an answer that's fast, even if it might be a little unstable? Go with an iterative approach. Or do you need something super robust, even if it might get stuck on a good enough answer? There are even methods that are unbelievably accurate, like simulated annealing, but they are painfully, painfully slow. There's no one right answer. It's all about making the right trade-off for your specific problem.
Okay, so let's pull all these threads together. How do we actually measure if we've succeeded? And what does the final master playbook for fixing any image even look like?
Well, the very first step is always to size up the damage, and that's what BSNR, the blurred signal-to-noise ratio, is for. It gives us a hard number that tells us exactly how bad the corruption is before we even lift a finger. It basically tells us how tough our case is going to be. But here's the tricky part. After we've applied our fix, how do we know how well we did? I mean, in a controlled lab setting, you can just compare your result to the perfect original you started with. But out in the real world, you don't have that perfect original to check against. It's a huge challenge. And that brings us to this, the complete restoration playbook. You start by identifying the noise. Is it impulse noise? Go for a median filter. Is it more uniform? Maybe try an average. Then you ask the next big question. Do you know exactly how it was blurred? If you do, great, you can probably use an inverse filter. If not, well, you're in that tough, blind deconvolution territory, and you have to choose your method based on whether you need speed or perfect accuracy.
But at the end of the day, a truly successful restoration comes down to this one simple, powerful idea. True precision isn't just one thing. It's the perfect marriage of mathematical rigor, getting the numbers right, and visual preservation, making sure the result actually looks right and preserves the important details. And that leaves us with one last big idea to chew on. We've seen how these incredible mathematical tools can let us reverse engineer a broken image to find the truth. But as these tools get more and more powerful, you have to wonder, where do we draw the line between restoring the truth that was actually there and just creating a new, plausible truth that looks good?